All right, in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how I set up the Minelab Equinox 900, an incredible metal detector. Got some pro tips for you, check it out. So what are pro tips and what does that even mean, right? So it just means that you're getting some tips today on this video from someone who's been detecting for 38 years. I'm a Minelab Detexpert, which means I've been recognized by the company as being an expert on their product line. Just passing some tips to you guys, things that I've learned over the years, and I hope it helps. All right, my first tip is for you to get the correct size coil for the situation that you're in. For me today, and for most of the places that I go, I need the small coil. The small coil helps me get in where there's a bunch of iron and try to find coins and relics hidden amongst all the nails and all the bits of iron. The small coil can get in there and surgically hear all the little things that are hiding in the iron. So you have to remember that these machines are designed to ignore iron for the most part. And if you're in an area where you have a big coil and there's a lot of nails, your machine's going to be ignoring all the nails under that big coil, including missing some of the coins and other things that are hiding in the nails. Because your coil is so big, it's hearing mostly nails, therefore it's tricking the machine to blank those out. So this nice little small coil can get in there and hear a coin or an object hiding in between some nails. This is advantageous for those types of detecting trips. Or if you're at a park looking for coins and you're trying to pull some coins out of an area where you got a whole bunch of trash like bottle caps, pull tabs, and they're just everywhere, this small little coil can get in there and hear those coins hide in the trash. So make sure you have the correct size coil. For me, like I said today, I need the small coil. All right, my next pro tip is a pretty obvious one, but get yourself some headphones and wear them when you're metal detecting. So these are the Minelab ML85. They connect wirelessly to the Equinox 900. And this is a good advantage. You want to have headphones on because the tones on the Minelab series metal detectors are full of information. You can glean a lot of information from just what you're hearing if you're hearing all the detail. Headphones will give you all that extra detail and also just knock out some of the wind noise around you, traffic, cars, people, or whatever. This will really help you focus in on what you're hearing, and furthermore, you're not a nuisance either to people around you. If you don't have headphones on and you walk by and you're in a park and your machine's beeping out loud, people are going to look at you. So get yourself some headphones. It's a pro tip just because of all the information that you'll gain by having headphones on. And this will give you details in the sound that will help you make those dig or no dig decisions. So headphones for sure. All right, let's start by turning the machine on. And we'll turn the backlight on so we can see that. We're going to start by choosing our search mode first. By using this button right here, we can toggle across. You can see we're in Park 1 now. Park 2, Field 1, Field 2, Beach 1, Beach 2, and then Goldfield Mode 1, Goldfield Mode 2. So I'm going to be in Field 2 today. That gives me in multi-frequency a bunch of frequencies that are really good for the type of detecting I'm doing today, which is in the heavy iron, looking for little small buttons and buckles and things that the gold miners lost here back in the 1850s here in California. So I'm going to be in Field 2 today, but maybe you are in a park looking for deep silver. So you'd be in Park 1 or whatever mode you're going to be in, or maybe you're up on the dry sand at the beach. But go ahead and choose your mode first. And that way, make sure you're in multi-frequency, that you're not on a single frequency. We got that part taken care of. And the next thing we're going to do is take a look at our sensitivity. That's that bar right there. You could hit negative or plus right now from this screen to adjust that. And you can run your sensitivity up as high as you can until it starts to get a little bit noisy. For me, out here today, I'm at 22. And if I go much higher than that, the machine starts to whine and cry a little bit, and I just want it to be super stable. So I have it down at 22, but make sure you have your sensitivity up where you're going to run it before we do noise cancel and ground balance, because a sensitivity of 1 hardly hears anything, and you don't get a very good ground balance or noise cancel when the machine can't detect very much. But if you have it up where you're going to run it, you'll get a good solid noise cancel and ground balance. So make sure you get that taken care of. Next thing we're going to do is, with the cog wheel here, we'll toggle over to volume and make sure we have our volume turned up. I'm going to turn all the way up to 25 so that we can hear it today. And then from here, go ahead and hold in the cog wheel. And this is down here on the left-hand side, this is the iron tones. I'm going to want you to turn your iron tones up so you can really hear them. And I'm going to run them at 11 today so I can hear the iron grunts, because it's a pro tip. It's advantageous for you to hear the iron grunts so that you know when you're in the iron. So in other words, if you're out in the open and you don't hear any iron at all, the chances of you finding something is not as good as it is if you were in an area that was heavily occupied and there's a lot of nails, a lot of iron in the ground. So try to stay in the iron, because that's where the good stuff is more likely to be. Make sure that's turned up where you can hear it. All right, we're going to go over and turn our threshold up. So with the cogwheel, watch this little icon jump across and go to the fourth one, which is that symbol right there. And then turn your threshold up so you can hear the machine in the background. Can you hear that? That's threshold. We need to hear that threshold. Put it where it's pretty quiet and it's not distracting, but you know that it's there. For me today, I'll run it at 11 so I can hear it while we're making the video and while I'm detecting. So now we have all those settings taken care of. Now we could go ahead and start the startup procedure. To do that, we'll hit the cogwheel and toggle all the way back to the first icon right here. This is our noise cancel. So go ahead and hold the machine up now at waist height. If there's anybody else detecting with you, it'd be really cool if they could turn on first so that this machine can make sure it doesn't hear them. But do this, and like I said, do it with your detecting partners with their machines turned on. And we're going to hit this button over here on the right. We're going to watch and see what number it comes up with. It likes -8. That's the quietest channel it found. I'll do it one more time just to make sure. -7. Next thing is hit the cogwheel again. And now we're going to go to ground balance. So find an area where there's no signals, like right here. I got nothing right here. So right here, we're going to hold this button in and pump the coil and watch the machine. It stops at 25. It got real quiet and the number stopped at 25. I'm still holding it in, still pumping. So that's going to be my ground balance, 25. All right, before we start swinging, one last thing to take a look at here. This horseshoe symbol down here, if you look on the left-hand side, you can see it's all blanked out over here. And what I want to do is turn the horseshoe off so that there's no discrimination and I hear all the iron. So now I have threshold that I can hear. I have iron audio that will come through. And I have all the information coming in of things I'm swinging over. And that tells me when I'm in the iron and how to stay in the iron. So now we're just about ready to take off here. All right, now I'm going to show you how to go into all tones. So with the cogwheel right here, toggle over to this icon, which has a couple little musical symbols next to a speaker. And it says AT, and you can see I could toggle through 5, 2, 1, AT, and DP. So what you're going to do is go to AT and then hit this detect button. And one last thing we're going to check real quick while we're doing this. Hit the cogwheel again and go to the very last icon over here. It's on 7 now. You can see it goes to 8 and it goes all the way down to 1. So this is your recovery speed. You're going to want to have your recovery speed set as you start, and you're going to want to babysit this number and watch it very carefully throughout the detecting trip. So when you're in an area where you don't have a lot of signals at all, you don't hear any iron and there's not much going on, you can run this down around 3 or 4. And as you get into some iron, you're going to want to be at 5 or above. So for us today, we're going to run it at 6 because I already know I'm standing in an area where there's a much iron now. We're going to have some iron that we're going to be working through. So what this tells the processor inside is the higher numbers tell it to really focus hard on the speed of detection and how fast it can hear one signal right next to another. And that's going to be very helpful for you to hear a coin right next to, under, or on top of a nail. You're going to want your processor to be super fast. If you go the other direction, you're telling the machine down here in the low numbers that you want the machine to work very hard. The processor in here is to be tilted so that it's more focused on depth as opposed to the speed of detection. And that'll give you more depth, but then you lose speed of detection. So if you're out in the middle of nowhere and there's hardly anything, it wouldn't hurt you to be down on these lower numbers. But once you get in the iron, you might end up being as high as 7. So keep an eye on that, babysit that, and that's very advantageous for you to make sure you're in the right settings for your recovery speed. And while we're over there on that last icon, if you hold the cogwheel in, go to the advanced setup, you want to make sure that you're on FE0. So make sure you have that on FE0. not up here somewhere. So go to 0 and then hit the detect button. Make sure also that you're in multi-frequency. Now, if you do change frequencies for whatever reason, or you change programs down here for whatever reason, just make sure you do another noise cancel and ground balance after you change programs or frequencies. All right, let's get out and see what we can hear. All right, the machine is all sorted out. We're ready to get out and start doing some detecting, see what we can find out here. Before we do that though, I wanted to take one last second just to talk to you one more time about how important it is to have all those settings sorted out before you even do the startup procedure. And what is the startup procedure? It's simple. It's just noise cancel and ground balance, and you're off and detecting. But do you see how important it is to have all those other things done before you even do the noise cancel and the ground balance? For example, make sure you're in the right mode, the detection mode you're going to be in. For me today, I'm in field 2. I'm in multi-frequency. I got my volume turned up. I got threshold up. I got iron audio on. I have my recovery speed set, iron bias set, and the machine's good to go, ready to go. Then I did my noise cancel, and then I did my ground grab or my ground balance, and here we go. We're off of detecting. All right, let's see what happens. All right, got some iron up here. Let's drive around a little bit and see what we got. You can hear the threshold cutting out. A lot of noise up here. A lot of pops and clicks. It's all iron. What you're trying to hear is something that can repeat in here. It's very difficult for me to explain to you why I ignore some of these signals and why I go back and reinvestigate some other ones. That just comes with time on the machine. You know, you're going to have to go out there and just pay your dues and learn the tones. Here's a little signal down here. Look at my swing. See how I'm just a little tight swing there? I'm not going like this. Listen to all that noise. You got to get in on it like this. Just get in on it. Look at the numbers. Turn 90 degrees and check that again. Sounds good, looks good. We're going to dig that for sure. You could pinpoint it if you wanted to right now. Or what I like doing, just a pro tip, is look at my small coil. See that little swing? When I turn 90, there's no need to pinpoint that because I know exactly where it's at. It's right under my coil right now. So therefore, I would just be wasting time, detecting time, digging time, sitting here pinpointing all the time. So just try not to pinpoint. You got a small coil, you could just do this. Let's get down and see what that is. Another pro tip here is make sure you have a pinpointer. Pinpointer is very important to be able to find out where the target is so that you don't destroy it and you don't make too big of a hole. I'm right on it right now. It's right there. So the pinpointer is buzzing in my hand, and it tells me that there's a small little signal right there under my pinpointer. Let's go ahead and pop that out real quick and see what it is. No need to make a giant hole because I'm right on it with the pinpointer. It's out. It's right here. It's a modern penny. But it's a coin. So we got our first coin just right up here on these rocks. Let's keep looking around. Another pro tip while we're sitting here looking at this hole. You notice that I have a tether on my pinpointer and it's connected to me right here. These are really cool to have because a lot of times I set my pinpointer down and forget that I did. And I start walking away and the tether grabs it and reminds me, oh yeah, I almost left my pinpointer. And I would do the same thing on my digger if I could. I just don't want to have too many tethers going on, but the pinpointer for sure, you're going to want to have a tether. That's a really nice thing to have. And there's a link down in my description right now of a person who makes a great tether. These ones right here. And these are just super high quality. I can recommend them. Like I say, link down below. And then another thing, make sure you fill your holes in too. Take the time just to fill your hole back in, step on it, And then you're going to get up and recheck that hole because there still could be something down there. So let's get up and see if maybe more than one coin was dropped. You're rechecking it? No. So I covered my hole up and I rechecked it. Make sure you do that too. Super important just for the ethics of this hobby. All right, let's keep doing it. All right, let's talk about swing speed for a second here. That's very important. You don't want to swing too fast and you don't want to swing too slow. You want a good 2 to 3 second swing across the whole swing, about like this. This is a good speed. This would be too fast and this would be too slow. So you want a good 2 to 3 second swing. If you have your recovery speed turned up high, like 6 or 7, 8, your speed can be a little bit faster on your swing. And the same goes the other direction. You could slow your speed down just a little bit if you had a low recovery speed. But this is what you really want to focus on, is a good swing speed like this, a good comfortable swing speed. And also notice that my coil is flat on the ground. It's not sticking way up in the air like that. Like that would not be good, right? You got to have your coil flat, perfectly flat and equal with the ground and down in the grass. Let that thing swing in the grass. It's got a coil protector on the bottom called a skid plate. That's a little replaceable, inexpensive part that wears over time, but you can get another one. But get that thing down in the dirt. It's designed to be swung down low. Especially with a small coil, you're already losing a little bit of depth over a bigger coil because of the size. So don't cheat yourself out by swinging way up high like this. Get that coil down on the ground and just follow the contours of the ground. Keep it flat, good swing speed. And this technique right here is exactly how you'll see any professional long-time detectorist out swinging, is they know they got to keep their coil flat on the ground with a good swing speed. These are super important tips, if not the most important on this whole video. Well, you can hear the threshold just cutting out all the iron in here. There's a good signal, 64, 66. We turn 90 degrees, still sounds good. Not going to pinpoint it as shallow. You can see on the depth gauge over here, it's shallow. Let's go ahead and check that out real quick. This is not a difficult signal at all because I think everybody would have heard this and dug it. But you probably noticed my little wiggle when I was on it, just wiggling back and forth. Again, make sure you do that kind of a swing pattern. It's very helpful to differentiate it from everything else around it. So it's right here. On this machine, it's kind of a mid-conductor number, so I think that penny we had earlier was around the same number. So you never know, but it's out, whatever it is. And I think this is off of a powder flask, pretty sure. Part of a powder flask. It's period, gold rush all the way, early, brass. Not 100% sure, but it's period though. Gold rush. Sounded good. A little weird shape to it, but it sure sounded good. All right, let's keep looking around. I got a little signal hiding in the grass right here. Repeatable. 39, 38, 37. Turn on it, the number goes up a little bit. Still gonna dig it, it's right there. So you get a couple different numbers from a 90-degree change in angle. Slight variation in the numbers. Sometimes that could just be something that's shaped weird. Okay, with my pinpointer, I hear it right here. So I know right where it's at. So I can just dig straight down and pop it right out without damaging it or making a gigantic hole. See if we got it out. It's still down there. Boy, the ground is so loose here. It's so easy to dig. Okay, it's out. Is it this thing? No. Whatever it is, it's out. Right down here. Boy, it's small because... Oh, here it is. It's just a little fired, yep. A little fired round ball. Pistol ball. That's what that is. Fired pistol ball. Lead. Okay, nice. Hiding in the grass here. I wanted to take a second just to let you hear the difference between having the horseshoe closed and the horseshoe open. So right now, the horseshoe is closed. That's kind of a loose term, but what it means to me is that the horseshoe is actually blocking out a whole section of signals down here, and we call that discrimination. So with it discriminating, you'll still hear the threshold cutting out, which is the constant tone, but you will also hear some other clicks and pops from the iron that we're swinging over. So you'd have to really pay attention to when the threshold cuts out to know when you're going over iron, because we can't hear our iron audio right now with the horseshoe on. Now with the horseshoe off or open, you hear everything. Now listen to the difference and listen to the amount of iron that's in here. All this bop, 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 that's all iron. So now we're hearing everything, all the details. This is how most pro detectorists like to hunt, so that they hear everything. That's a lot to take in. A lot of information. Can be too much for some people. But for somebody who's got a lot of hours on the machine, and this is how most of them prefer to hunt. Definitely how I prefer to hunt. Listen to the iron. You want to make sure you're in the iron, right? That's where good stuff's going to be lost. I'm lucky I had sights like this. What you're hearing mostly is just all nails. Square nails. From years of occupation here from the gold miners. Listen to this. And this is the big leagues of detecting right here, guys. So many signals here. I mean, it could be frustrating. It takes a lot of patience to sit there and work through all this. Got that little coil on there just surgically listening. All right, I'll keep swinging, and if I get something, we'll check back in and dig it together. Boy, I had a really nasty sounding target that was only hitting one way, and it would go away on a 90, and it was just real crappy, huge number variation. Decided to dig it up, and look at this. It's a lock. You see that? It's all here. The little swing arm's broken off, but there's a hole right here, if you can see that. Right here. And that's a really cool relic. Somebody missed that. We'll clean that up and make it look pretty good. But that's a lock that's 1850s, 1860s. So, all right, let's keep looking around. But that was a crazy signal. I wish I would have got it on video so you could hear it. A lot of people would have just not even dug it, but it was just enough there for me to investigate it. And it paid off. But 9 out of 10 times it doesn't. So you're just going to have to get down and dig all those crappy signals and learn on this machine. It literally just takes time and effort to learn the tones and see what you can understand from this machine, what it's telling you. It's talking to you all the time. So it talked to me on this one just enough to get me to dig it. All right, I got a signal down here that's kind of bombastic. Just so loud. Shallow. Look at that swing. Turn 90. Let's get down and see what that is. Here's how it's just real unruly. And it's because it's shallow. It's right on top. And the machine is just getting kind of crazy because it's right under the coil. Might be even bigger too. So it's right here. Not very deep. Boy, it is bigger too. Right here. Let's get down there and pop that out. Like I said, I'm expecting it to be something big. And it is. As you can see, moving some earth here. What do we got? A shovel. No surprise. That's a gold rush shovel, boy. With its design on the back and the rivets. That's why it was so obnoxious of a signal. But we didn't miss it though. So there it is. Pretty cool. Gold rush shovel. And you got to hear it. All right, we'll bury the hole back up, recheck it, and carry our trash out. Carry our iron out. So that'll go home with me today. All right, let's listen to this signal real quick. It's broken. Numbers are kind of all over the place. Turn on me on it. You hear that iron grunt in there with it? This is a signal I'm not going to dig. It takes a lot of signals for you to learn what you're going to dig and what you're not going to dig. So you may want to dig these so you can learn. I'm going to choose not to. That's just my choice. But you can hear it's just kind of crappy, and I just don't like it. I don't like what I'm hearing. There's a lot of iron sounds in it, and this is one I'm going to ignore and leave alone. But like I said, you may have to dig these just to learn these iffy signals. All right, let's keep moving. You're always listening for something that's just kind of different. And if you listen right here, right there, got to get that little tiny swing on it. Look. But there's a different sound. You hear it? Watch. Just right there. It's a low conductor. Turn 90. No need to pinpoint it because look at how small it is. It's right there. So it's a little low conductor. Let's see what this is. See if we can hear it with the pinpointer. But it had that different sound. It just kind of stood out from everything else. And that's what you're listening for. That's why we use all tones. That's the value of all tone right there. Okay, it's small. It's right here. A little bit deeper and small. Should be out. Yeah, it's out. Boy, it's just a small little thing right here. Typically these numbers are either foil or 22 casing or 22 bullet. Something small. This could be tough to recover. It's tough though. It's a small little signal. Is that it right there? Yep. There it is. A little fired 22 round. So that's what it is. Here we got a little low conductor over here. To 24, 29. Again, it's kind of shallow, so it's making the machine go pop, 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 but let's get down there and see if we can hear it with the pinpointer. It's not as shallow as I thought because I don't hear it right away with the pinpointer. Okay, it's under my pinpointer right now, straight down. It's at least a few inches down. There it is. Piece of can or something. So, just trash, but period, from the correct time period. There's more down here. Have to recheck the hole. There's another piece of it. Let me go ahead and pull all this metal out, but this is what it was. It's part of a can of some type. All right, out on the fringe of the iron and got a signal here. Turn 90. Still gonna dig it. Not the best sounding signal, but let's go ahead and pop it out real quick. It's easy because it was on the fringe of the iron, so it wasn't really super noisy over here. I was about ready to turn my recovery speed back down a little bit. Pinpointer shows it's right here and just a couple inches down. Should be pretty close. It's out. Here it is right here. Another fired round ball. Lead. Okay. It hit something, but it's a fired round ball. All right, the machine is getting very unstable. It's starting to click and pop and just whine and cry and make all kinds of weird sounds. With the headphones on, you can really hear it. It's just getting unstable. So when you realize that your machine's starting to do that, stop for a second and just redo the first two things on the startup procedure again. It just takes a second. But we'll go ahead and start by doing a fresh noise cancel real quick. And we'll go to the first icon on the bottom right there. Hold this in. Okay, so there's a fresh noise cancel. Then we'll go ahead and find a spot where there's no signal, like right here. Go to the next icon and do a new ground balance. Because something's way out of whack. The machine is just getting too unruly. You can see it's quite a difference now. It landed on a 36 over here in this red dirt. This dirt is super red over here. It's got a lot of iron in it. So our ground is hot out here in California. So the machine now should go ahead and settle down and sound a lot more better than I did a minute ago. You can still hear it's kind of charged up sound, isn't it? Let's lower our sensitivity a little bit. I'm gonna try running it at 20, see if that helps. There we go. So just make a few adjustments to get the machine to settle down a little bit. I mean, this ground is hotter over here. Maybe the sensitivity in the hotter ground was causing that. But now it sounds way better. So here we go. So every once in a while, just if it starts to get unruly like that, don't tolerate it. Stop and correct it as soon as you can. Well, here's a signal that nobody's going to miss. $17, $16, $15. We'll turn 90. No need to pinpoint it. But this is an easy signal that everybody would have heard. Let's go ahead and see what it is. Pinpointer's right on it. Right there. It's a low conductor, so something thin or small. There it is right there. It's a 22 bullet. All right, here's a signal we've been waiting all day for. And I've been here for 2.5 hours hoping for this signal, and here it is. Let's listen to it. 91, 92. We'll turn on it. Sounds nice and small and tight. Let's listen to it with Pinpoint to see how it sounds. Nice and small and Pinpoint. We'll be a little more careful with this signal because when we dig it, because it's a number that could be a coin or something really cool. So I don't want to damage this. I want to make sure I pinpoint it very carefully and dig around the edges of it so we don't damage it, just in case it is a coin. It's small. It's right under my pinpointer right here. Right here. And because it has the possibility to be a coin, I really don't even want to use my digger. I'm just going to use my fingers kind of carefully so that I don't damage it with my fingers. And there it is. Let's see what this is. It's not a coin. It's brass, round. It might be part of a window weight or a top. Boy, tough to say. If you know what this is, go down in the comments and let me know what you think this is. See the little holes in there? 4 little holes. I've seen these on things like these on windows back in the 1800s. Anyway, it's heavy, thick, solid, just pure. It feels like brass. Let me know if you know what that is. Go down in the comments and tell me. Period, though, and could have been a $50, could have been a silver dollar, could have been a $20 gold piece. A big old 91 screaming at us. So, all right, let's keep looking. All right, kind of another loud, obnoxious signal, but low conductor, mid-20s. See what that is. It sounds like it's shallow and a little bigger, a little bombastic sounding. Right next to a rock. Could be something that somebody else found. Another detectorist and just threw it right here, right on top. So, very possible. And I bet that's what it is. Part of a broken pick. So this is the side, the cheek of a pick, a miner's pick. And the handle would have went right through here, but it's a big old piece of iron broken off a pick. We'll go ahead and haul that out. But yeah, it's probably somebody dug that and just threw it over here by these rocks. And I found it. So I'll go ahead and take it out. I got a signal right here. Again, one of those easy signals that nobody would have missed. Now it's in the iron, so I had to find it in the iron, but once I got in on it, sounds amazing. I'll turn 90 on it. No iron grunts. Right there. So 70s. Let's see what that is. Kind of a high conductor. Pinpointer. It's right on top. I see it, I think. Is this it? Piece of lead. Big old piece of lead right here. Yep, fired bullet. All right, I'm taking a little break here from the weather for a second. Just wanted to talk to you guys about some of the signals that we just listened to, the way the ground sounded, all that iron in there. Some good signals, some iffy signals, but that's not really what this video is about. This video is more about the settings we did before we even started up, the professional approach to how to swing, how your coil should be on the ground, even, the swing speed, the coil size, all those little details, those professional tips. That's really what you can get out of this video that can help you take it to the next level. And then once you get the machine all set up and it's optimized, you can get out there and listen very critically with your headphones on and make those dig, no dig decisions. Let's go ahead and get back to the action here. I'm gonna take a little break until this rain passes through and then we'll get back out there. I can see blue skies on the other side over here, so give it a few minutes and we'll get back out there. I got a signal right here. It's a tight little signal. 58. 59. Turn 90. Getting a couple different tones off of it though, so it's kind of confusing. It's giving me 2 different tones. I don't know if it's 2 different things or what's going on here. Right under my pinpointer. It's out. Yep. Some kind of coin. So why was I getting 2 tones off of a coin? Is it a Lincoln penny, wheatback, It's a wheat cent. I don't know why I was getting two tones unless there's two different coins in here. Let's recheck the hole, but it looks like a wheat back penny. Not sure the date on it, but try to get a better picture of it for you here. So I rechecked the hole and there's just a bunch of iron in there. So the penny was just giving me some different tones because it was right on top of the iron. So nothing else down there. It was just the iron mixed in with it, giving me a kind of a averaging signal, an averaging number. Getting that lower number down in the 50s on a penny is unusual. So copper penny should be higher than that. And it's because the iron in there was pulling it down, averaging the number out. So let's keep looking, see what else is in here, see if we can get an older penny or older coin. All right. All right, that is a wrap on this video. We came out here and swung this thing around for about 3 or 4 hours today. And some heavy iron, got to hear some really good signals and a few iffy signals. We dug all those, got excited on a 91. But anyway, I'll tell you what, if you own this machine, the Equinox 900, I gotta congratulate you right now on owning one of the most formidable and capable metal detectors on the market today. This thing was dialed today. I'm talking just rock solid, and I felt like I was connected to the ground. This thing was on point. So all you got to do is just follow what we did in the beginning of this video. And if you haven't watched my complete video on this, take a look at that now. It's up here in the corner. Click on that right now, watch that video, because that video will show you the unboxing, how to assemble it, and the full setup, all the settings on it. And then you watch this video, take this thing out, and you will kill it out there. What an incredible machine. And like I always say, if you have any comments or questions, go down below and ask your questions down there. Leave your comments. I read them all, and I try to answer all of them. So I'll see you guys down in the comment section, and we'll catch you again real soon. Thanks.